What's up, real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and welcome to I'm going to be honest, a later edition of MVP Games Live today, and I'm assuming that's why this guy in Twitch chat right now is giving us the hardened face. You will soon know the reason. You will not know yet, but you will soon know the reason because we have a new reveal going on today on Games Live, a new addition to the show that I will have to do this all again on Sports Live. This was a Dave idea that has been modified by Soapy. So it is an addition coming to the show, and you will learn about it in a second. But let's get into what we always do. My name's Ricky Widmer. I'm joined, as I always am, by my beautiful co-host, Soapy Muffin.
Hey.
And Soapy, we got a jam-packed show of gaming today, but before we get into that, how you doing today? How you doing today, my guy?
I'm doing pretty good. Been a really tired day.
You were saying before we went live, you got your nap in before the show? You got a nap in before? Feeling rested? Feeling ready for today?
Kinda.
Yeah, today. Soapy's like, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But
yeah, I mean, considering I even said before we started recording that I can't lay on my back or I'll fall asleep again.
Yeah, good point. Good point. We don't want you to do that. You got to sit up, got to stay awake. But before we get into everything today, let's get through housekeeping. Nice, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Number one, join the Discord. It's a great time. It's a great community. Links either down below in that description or exclamation point Discord into chat to get that link. Boom, you're in the Discord. You're conversating, talking with all the real MVPs in the Real MVP family. Number two, if you want to support us, number one, patreon.com/MVP vids. That is where you get to join the Discord voice channels. You get to interact with the show with reader mail, or as we call it, Patreon mail. You get content a week early, the videos that we do on the YouTube channel, and much more. Thank you to our Patreon sponsors, Pat Hill and Philly Sean. And then another way you can support us is subbing to us on Twitch. Let's say you got that Prime Gaming from Amazon. Throw it our way. Doesn't even cost you a thing. And you get the same rewards that a bronze tier member on Patreon would get. So go ahead and throw us a sub if you can. And then the last thing, we're on Twitch every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVP vids. But we're also on YouTube at MVP Entertainment, so go like, sub, and do all that fun stuff. Follow. It really helps us out, and it helps you keep track of what's going on in the MVP universe. But Soapy, before we get into our first topic, which is Amazon and cloud service gaming, I have to get to why we were late today, because what we were going to do is you and I were going to record our predictions for WWE Clash of Champions. We're pushing that to tomorrow, so look for that on the YouTube page, either late Friday, early Saturday. It'll probably go up Saturday at like midnight. It might go up in the wee hours of Saturday morning, but look for that. That'll be a good one. And while I was before the show, I'm like, I'm going to try an idea that David mentioned and that I brought up to you, and you were like, you gave an idea, and it's like, okay, we could do that. We're trying it out. It's brand new. I'm going to put it live right now so you guys can see it. Boom. A little bit of a thing there. A little bit of a graphic underneath us to let you know what we're talking about. So if you ever come into the show late, boom, you know underneath us, that is what you were talking about. So I had to put all those together for Sports and Games Live, so that's why we are a little late today. But Soapy, what we are starting the show with is Amazon unveils a new cloud gaming service. It is called Luna, and Polygon has the story. Amazon is throwing its hat into the cloud gaming ring with Luna, a new gaming streaming technology coming to PCs, mobile devices, and Amazon's own Fire TV hardware. Starting today, customers in the U.S. can request an invitation for early access to Luna, Amazon announced at its devices event on Thursday. Luna will be playable on Fire TV, Mac, and Windows PC, and on Android and iOS mobile devices. Amazon specifies that iOS platforms will access Luna through the Webs app, seemingly the company's solution to Apple's prohibited rules for cloud-based game streaming via the App Store. Amazon will also offer subscriptions to games channels through Luna, one of which is called Luna Plus, that will feature games such as Resident Evil 7, Control, Panzer Dragoon, A Plague Tale Innocent, The Surge 2, Ukulele, and The Impossible Lair. Other ones are Grid, Abusa, Brothers, Tale of Two Sons. More titles will be added over time, Amazon said in its release. Luna Plus will cost $6, $5.99 per month during Amazon's early access period. The company promises that subscribers can play on 2 devices simultaneously with 4K resolution and 60 frames per second refresh rate for select titles. Amazon is also partnering with Ubisoft to create a game channel specific to that publisher. Subscribers will get access to their favorite Ubisoft titles and up to 4K resolution, mobile gameplay, and access to new titles when the channel launches, like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Far Cry 6, and Immortals Phoenix Rising, the same day they release. So, Soapy, I know you cut out, you're back in. I'm going to ask you, what is your thought on Amazon Luna? Is this something that people should be excited about? Or is this something that, hey, you know what, let's kind of be a little skeptical about it because, first off, it's Amazon. Second off, we were all hyped up about the Stadia about 2 years ago, and we looked at how that kind of, I'm not going to say crash and burn, but it didn't live up to the expectations that we have set. What are your thoughts on Amazon Luna and the cloud-based gaming service from Amazon?
Didn't Google make Stadia? I didn't think it was Amazon that made that.
Google made Stadia, Xbox has xCloud, and now it's Amazon with Luna.
Okay, I thought you were saying that we were skeptical because Amazon made Stadia. And I'm
No. We're skeptical because Stadia was so hyped. And then when it came out, people were like, ooh, the expectations are not where we had them.
I mean, the only reason I'm skeptical is just because it's the same thing I have a problem with like streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, and all that. Is like, at some point, everyone's just going to start making their own.
Yeah.
To where, like, I kind of feel this is the start of that.
Mm-hmm.
To where, like, obviously, don't get me wrong, we're still in the early stages. Amazon can do whatever the fuck they want to do because they're Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing we really can tell Amazon to do because Bezos will be like, ooh, that's just too bad. Let me wipe my tears with my money.
Mm-hmm. Jeff Bezos is just wiping those tears with his dollar bills.
Yeah. And still being sad that his wife won't follow him on Twitter. Or his ex-wife. But
is that a thing that I'm missing, that his ex-wife doesn't follow him on Twitter?
I think it's the only. Yeah, I think it's the only person he follows on Twitter is his ex-wife. Okay. His ex-wife does not follow him back.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but okay, we'll go with it.
It's a really stupid fact, I know. So yeah, so like I'm hyped. Cool. Now my dog's gonna bark. Cool.
Hey, wants to get in on the conversation. Has things to say about Amazon.
Yeah, it's like I'm excited because it's another streaming or like another cloud platform. The only thing I'm worried about is this going to start the snowball effect of now everyone's going to try to get in on it.
Well, I mean, maybe for me it's not because like I didn't think about that. I didn't think about everyone getting in on it because you already look at it though, and it's like, what, this is the third one that we've had to, I'm going to say, deal with. Stadia kind of kicked it off. And then we had xCloud that is, about a couple days old, as that came out, I think, on the 18th or the 15th of this month. Haven't really heard much about that except for the Apple kind of blocking it through the App Store in a way, or having it to where games have to have their own page on the App Store. To me, it's kind of like what I'm seeing in chat right now, whereas this guy says video streaming is easy enough for companies. The issue with gaming is input lag. And that's to me where it's like, I feel like cloud-based gaming it's a good concept, but I wonder if we're there yet. Because like even Dave and I talked about when we were on Too Old to Game at the time, when Stadia was coming out. Dave even mentioned, he's like, well, if you have like normal Comcast internet might be fast enough, but like how many people have high enough speeds on their internet to be able to stream something through the cloud. Because not everyone has Google Fiber, which is like 900 up, 900 down for speeds. And it's like, if you're going to want to, the whole point with cloud-based gaming to me is I'm not playing just at my house. I am taking that literally anywhere. So like, I have my phone here. I want to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla. At the time of Stadia, we were talking about Assassin's Creed Origins because that was the big thing. And the other thing I kind of find a little humorous with this is when Stadia came out, the whole big thing was, oh my God, Ubisoft is going to partner with them and you can play Assassin's Creed Origins the day it comes out. Or Odyssey. It was Odyssey. Assassin's Creed Odyssey the day it comes out. And like I read the part of like, oh yeah, Ubisoft's going to have their own channel page. To where I'm like, oh, so is this just Ubisoft again throwing their hat in? Because of course cloud-based gaming is something that I think eventually we will get to where it's reliable, to where you can play your games anywhere. It's just right now, I don't know if we're at that capability yet. And by throwing more and more people into the ring, you could be on the side of like, well, maybe Amazon gets it right, where Google and Stadia did not. Or you could look at it on the side of this will just be another company who Amazon, I will say, not really one of the leaders in the gaming universe, trying to cash in on the gaming crowd. And it might be a flop because they don't have that experience in the gaming universe, trying to throw their hat into something they don't know that much about, or they're not really, what's the word I'm looking for? They don't have enough experience in that arena of play.
Yeah, and I think it falls somewhere in there. I think it's Amazon has always probably had an interest in gaming because you wouldn't buy Twitch otherwise.
Yeah.
Like if they like, and my whole thing is I know people are going to be like, oh, you don't have to be interested in gaming to care about Twitch. The only thing is though, Twitch was primarily gaming when they bought it.
Yeah.
Like that. Like that's why I think they've always had an interest in doing gaming because gaming is one of those markets. It's like it's not untapped because fuck everyone does it at this point. But like even with so many people being involved in it, there's still so much money to be made off of it. So I think that's probably something that Amazon has realized. Like, oh hey, this is something that if we hit, boom, we're gonna do real good. But then you're gonna get people that see like, oh, if Amazon makes it work, and they have, if they make it work, and they're starting to make a lot of money, you'll start seeing other people hopping. That's just where my entire worry is.
Yeah.
Of like, I don't want to have it that like, oh, I have to pay like an absolute shit ton of money to play basically anything on my phone ever.
And when it comes into the exact specs, I did find that in the article. It says Amazon said its testing showed a reduction in round trip latency when playing Luna controller with Cloud Direct versus Luna controller with Bluetooth, with reductions between 13 to 30 milliseconds among PC, Fire TV, and Mac, because the Luna controller connects directly to cloud servers. Players can easily switch between screens, such as Fire TV to mobile phone, without additional pairing or configuration challenges. But even that alone, like when they mentioned Fire TV, of course you're going to be able to go ahead and play on it. But like, I'll be honest, I've known people who have had Fire TV that they even have problems with it without gaming, just trying to watch movies or whatever on their Fire TV stick, to where it's like, I question of like, what is your gaming experience going to be on a Fire TV compared to a PC or Mac compared to a mobile device like a phone?
Yeah, and I think that's in the early ages or in the early times of like cloud gaming. That's something that it's things need to be pieced together because we saw the Stadia do absolutely shit because it couldn't handle anything.
Yeah.
The xCloud hasn't been out long enough to really like have a good judgment on it, and I also really haven't heard anything about it since it's come out. So, like, it's just one of those things of where it's a worry to me that that right now it's like Amazon's got enough money, they can fuck up and still not care. They'd be like, oh no, oh boo hoo, we spent all this money,
Yeah.
and then just make it back the next day. But I think Amazon's going to be the company that figures it out, and it's because they have
the money?
they have all that money.
Okay. I mean, right now let's see. See, that's from a year ago. Like, how could you do Stadia versus xCloud a year ago? Because I was trying to even find reviews for it, and a lot of it is like for xCloud, like, oh, the beta, like this is what the beta. It's like, I don't want the beta. I want what's out right now. And one question I'll bring in from Chat Soapy, this guy has said it a couple times, and it's true because Amazon usually does this. He says, I still think there will be 2 30-second ads every 30 minutes on this new service. Amazon cannot help themselves. Is that going to be something that you see Amazon doing? Because I will say, when watching Amazon Prime, Amazon is a streaming service that loves to throw ads at you, especially now on Twitch, where it's like it seems like every time I switch to a new channel, boom, I get hit with an ad.
I mean, dude, who knows? Like, I wouldn't be surprised, and I hate to word it this way. It's Amazon's just trying to make as much money as they can.
Yeah. Well, they see so much dollar bills going into the gaming sphere that's why they've bought Twitch. That's why they're trying to do this now. That's why they have their own. We've talked about their gaming studio working on that MMO that they're working on. It's like, I wonder, it's like, it's great to be able to have the money to go into it. And it's fine to be able to like pay for people that like, oh, these people have done this like at other companies, but that doesn't really mean you're going to knock it out of the park here. Like, would I love cloud gaming to work? Yes, I would. I just, like I said, I don't think we're at that point yet to where the typical Joe Schmo can play cloud-based gaming and have it work to the expectations that everyone wants it to work to.
Yeah, and that's something that I think we're gonna have to wait a really long time to see, like that, like just that whole technology kind of be brought together into a way that it works. Yeah.
But let's move on. Do you have anything else that we have not talked about when it comes to the Amazon cloud-based stuff, Soaps?
No.
Okay. We're going to move on. I'm looking for... So I have the tweet in our rundown. I was going to look for the actual article for information, but the next thing we are talking about is the Tribeca Film Festival. And the reason we're bringing up Tribeca is this was tweeted out by Jeff Keighley. Finally learned how to say his name, by the way, so I'm not saying Knightley. I'm not saying whatever else I was saying. Jeff Keighley. Through the Game Awards Twitter account, they tweeted, today the Tribeca Film Festival announced that it will be selecting games starting in 2021. Jeff Keighley will be on the advisory board alongside an incredible group of creatives, and they posted the board. The entire advisory board consists of these names: Nia DaCosta, John Favreau, Bing Gordon, Jeff Keighley, Hideo Kojima, Sam Luke, and Kiki Wolfkill. Soapy, what is your thought, and how big is this for gaming? So the Tribeca Film Festival usually has just been for films. It's usually been one of the kind of best, I would say, for more on the side of like indie films, I would say, for their awards and stuff. But sometimes some of the mainstream indies have come through here. How big is this for gaming that this is now another award committee that is going to be selecting games to get honors starting in 2020.
I think it's huge. And I think the reason why is because gaming has always been kind of looked down on by people who do movies, because the whole thing is they just don't. And I will say this, and I know like people have different opinions on it. I consider video games an art form.
Yes,
because for instance, like
naturally,
yeah, but there are people who say it's not, which this is then showing that like video games are finally getting the credit they deserve. Because now they're going to film festivals. Because like for instance, I'm trying to think. Like, I know someone one time said Dark Souls should have gone. Dark Souls wasn't gonna fucking go because the whole beauty of Dark Souls story is you having to actually read, and reading bad and scary. Big words scare me.
I mean, that's why one of the things when I was a kid, Nintendo games, the one thing I didn't like about them was I had to read Soapy. I had to read those dreaded Nintendo texts, and they didn't have the voice actors like all my other games.
Yep, but it's one of those things of where, I mean, especially with them bringing Kojima, it's like, okay, cool. They know what Kojima's done in the past.
Well, and
like,
just in case people don't know, I did find the article from Polygon. So Nia DaCosta is a filmmaker. Jon Favreau, we've known him from the Marvel stuff. He did the Mandalorian, Lion King, writer director. Jeff Keighley we know as the Game Awards creator. Kojima we know as a games developer. Bing Gordon is an EA co-founder. Then you have Sam Luke is a Remedy Entertainment creative director. And then Kiki Wolfkill is the studio head of 343 Industries.
Yeah, so, like, and this is showing that, you know, and especially because I don't want to keep harping on the whole thing of Kojima's there, but, like, for instance, like, Kojima has a way of when he makes a story, dude, like, it just touches you.
Yeah.
Like, and it's something about it, of where, like, obviously with the Metal Gear games, Metal Gear story makes no fucking sense at all. Like, the two games in history, I will say, that make no fucking sense piecing their timelines together is Metal Gear Solid and Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
But, like, for instance, with Death Stranding, like, that got, like, raw emotions out of people.
Yeah, I was gonna say, with Death Stranding, it wasn't like there were gameplay things that there were aspects about its gameplay that were like, wow, this is a little different, but it was more about the story of Death Stranding than the gameplay of it.
Yeah, and it's because that's what he excels at. Is he sells you on that world. And I don't want to always divert everything to D&D. Like, that's why I feel like Critical Role should be at, like, not film events, but, like, they should be on award shows. Because, dude, like, that gets genuine emotion out of people.
Yes.
And it's because it's what people don't realize is that gaming, because I even count tabletop gaming in there. It's a fucking art form. If you can watch Critical Role and Critical Role, like, I'm being serious, I have never been more invested in characters in my fucking life. Like, dude, whenever, like, anything, like, whenever Grog's on screen, for Campaign 1 at least, fucking love it. Whenever,
So, because I was watching Campaign 2, I didn't watch Campaign 1. Is that Travis's character?
Yep.
Okay.
That's Travis's Barbarian.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was Travis's character.
Yeah, and I don't want to spoil anything from Campaign 2. There's a moment that happens that straight up, like, the cast members start crying. And, like, a lot of the fan base were fucked up.
There. I haven't gotten there, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that, like, I don't want to spoil anything, because I think it's, like, 20-something episodes in, I think.
Yeah. I definitely am nowhere near 20.
Yeah, and it's things like that I always will say, like, I don't ever want to hear the slander of, oh, you know, video games can't tell a story anymore. It's like, no. There are storytelling games. Like, dude, I'll be brutally honest. The Telltale Walking Dead games, I have never cried harder in my fucking life.
Oh, man. Like, having to choose... I remember playing the first one. And before I go into this, Dave's absolutely right in chat. Games have become a better platform of storytelling than film. And the reason why I would agree with that is because when I'm watching a film, like... I can connect. Like, I'm even going to bring in, like, wrestling, too, from this. Because wrestling if written right, can do this same thing where it's like if I'm watching something, of course you can write it in a way to where I feel for the character, and maybe it's an experience that I have felt that's like, okay, I relate to this character. But like for gaming and video games, that's different, is the fact that you're actually playing the character. And like, that's why I bring up The Last of Us. Although I haven't played Last of Us 2 yet. I know. Shun me for it. But like when I played Last of Us 1, that is like not the only one, but that is like the one game that I can go back to when someone goes, name a game that moved you, because it's just they put you in a story and they make you feel for the characters and they make you play as these characters, and you're putting yourselves in the character's shoes. I would say BioShock is another one. With BioShock, for me, though, I've said this before, that added a sense of kind of just another level, as I played it completely pitch black in my basement. So, like, all I could see was the light from the TV. Like, I wouldn't play it during the day, only at night, pitch black. And it kind of added kind of a atmospheric thing. Dave and I used to do the same thing for World at War whenever we would play the Nazi Zombies mode. As we would go pitch black in my basement, nothing we can see but the light of the TV. And like for me, that's why like gaming it has that interaction where you're not just watching it, you're being put into that situation. You are the character. You aren't watching the character, you are that character. And like for example, you bring up The Walking Dead, you're literally making life or death choices for some people in that game.
Yeah, and because dude, I'm not gonna lie, the ending of the second part fucked me up more than the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But that also is just complete and that's aspects of the fact of, I'm gonna be brutally honest, I don't care about fucking spoilers, dude. That game's like fucking 10 years old. Get over it. At the end of the first one, whenever like you're watching like Lee slowly die, like dude, I was fucked up. One, I was kind of annoyed. I'm like, okay, I kind of wish I could have got my arm cut off earlier, but that's cool.
I shut my computer off to try to go back to my last save point and see if there was a way to save them. I was like, oh shit, I made the wrong choice. I did that. Nope. Go with the other choice. It's the same thing. So then I shut it off again and went back to my original choice. Because I'm like, if he's going to die, I want to go with the choice that I originally was going to make gut-wise.
Yeah, and because obviously, like it's watching Lee die, like it hurts you so much because you've invested hours into Lee as a character.
Yeah.
Like Lee as a character has changed because of your choices. Because like for instance, like, and it's even, I don't know if you do technically like a perfect run, air quotes around perfect run. Like not a lot of the people you traveled with died.
Yeah.
But and then it's also the events in the first game build up to what made the ending of the second one really fucking sad. Was when you see everything Kenny goes through. Yeah, you literally watch Kenny lose his son, his wife, his best friend, and his whole fucking roof.
Just that alone, just you say, all you had to say was one word, Soap. Kenny.
And it's Kenny.
And just my reaction of just, I got no words. Like, I had no words. I had just like that alone should tell you, like, just his story alone, how impactful it is.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing of, I mean, obviously, there may be a little bias. I like Kenny a lot more than some of the other characters in the second game. Not gonna lie.
His son was Duck, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I hated Duck, so I
was gonna say, didn't you hate Duck?
Yes, I fucking hated Duck. The Duck was annoying. But, like, for instance, it's all that culminating up to, and obviously, like, and it is a good point. Films are very short. I don't want to watch a fucking 10-hour film. Because I'm not gonna lie, whenever I watch Lord of the Rings, I need a fucking nap afterwards, dude. Like, that's 3 hours of me paying attention to something. I don't know if my fucking ADHD or something kicks in, but I'm just like, man, dude, I gotta do something during this movie.
By the way, and this kind of comes into the discussion we're having now, but it goes a little bit away from games and it fits mostly with the film thing. You know what I got put into perspective this week? And it mainly comes to my mind because you say, like you bring up Lord of the Rings, where I was watching a video by Adam Blompe about WWE, and in it he talked about Raw, and it never hit me that it's like, if you think about that show alone, they're basically writing a Lord of the Rings film of material every single week.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, never thought of it that way. Whereas like a game, it's... Because like a game's not just going to be 3 hours though. Like, is that also part of what makes it special, to where a movie, you've only got people for, it's like, okay, I like a 3 hour movie, 4 hour movie is like, okay, we're getting a lot in there, and we got to make sure it's done right if we're going to have it that long. Because let's be honest, the Lord of the Rings movies are marathons. Like I remember when Dave wanted to watch all of them back to back to back. Boy, was that a fucking day. That was a fucking day of just, because Soapy, we didn't just do the normals. We did the extended cuts. You got to do the extended cuts if you're going to go all the way off the three of them.
That's like fucking 4 hours.
And the best part about it was, the main reason we were doing it was because the one friend that we used to hang out with a lot then, his girlfriend would hang out with us, and she had never seen the Lord of the Rings movies. So Dave's like, you got to. We're going to trilogy it. And we did the extended versions, which might not have been a good idea for a brand new viewer of Lord of the Rings.
But yeah, and because then just bringing it back with, like, I think it's the fact that film has to be so short that, like, it almost kind of feels, if you're trying to, like, hammer home something for a character, of where it's like, there's a weird balance of like let's say for instance, like, you have the character that, like, they had a tragedy in their life. If you keep constantly hammering it fucking home, like, every 2 seconds, people are gonna be like, all right, shut up, I get it.
Yeah.
But in gaming, it's like, since you see that event, you know it. Which honestly, I would say, like, I think it's better to compare, like, movie trilogies to games than just an individual film.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think Life of Pi got a lot of good reviews. I don't exactly remember. But, like, I'm not gonna lie.
I know it was nominated for awards for its visual and CGI work. I almost said CGI work.
Yeah, and, like, that tells a story in 2 hours, which it's very hard to encapsulate all of that into just one movie. Because like, even Lord of the Rings, like, I'll be brutally honest, dude, Lord of the Rings, like, is the slowest goddamn paced movie of all time.
Yeah. So,
but it also, because it works, because they had to cut out so much shit from the books.
Life of Pi got an 87 on Rotten Tomato, and it had been nominated for Best Music Original Score, Most Frightened Performance, Best Directing, Best Visual Effects, Best Cinematography, twice. 2 different awards for that. Best Original Score again, Best Visual Effects, Cinematography, Best Adapted Screenplay, or Adapted Screenplay, Best Imported Drama Film, another Best Cinematography, a total of, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 awards over 2 years. Some were in 2012, some were in 2013.
Yeah, and, like, that's why I think if you compare a movie like Life of Pi to a video game, like, it's kind of comparable.
Yeah.
But even that, it's also one of those things of, like, like, it's not... Like, it's still tough because Life of Pi only fits something into, like, a 2 to 3 hour window. So I think, like, basically just to bring it all back in, dude, I'm happy that they're going to be there. I have a weird feeling, though, there's going to be, like, a bias against them.
Yeah.
Especially because they're new.
Well,
because, like, obviously they're not going to bring in old games. Like, they're not going to bring in, like, Death Stranding and show it off.
I'm glad
we got to wait for the next Kojima.
I'm glad you brought up the story part of it, though, because, like, the first tweets that I was seeing about it were there were gamers tweeting out like, "Oh, why is Nia DaCosta and John Favreau, why are they on this board? Like, filmmaker, writer, director, they don't have anything to do with games." And the thing I can think about now after our discussion is basically they might be on this advisory board because it's like, you guys know stories. You two know stories. You've been involved with movies that have good stories. Let's go ahead and have you on this board. So it's like, yeah, the 343 Industries, the EA, the games people might be able to talk more about the technicality of the game, but you guys can be the ones to where it's like, not saying like Kojima or anyone can't talk about it, but it's like they know stories, and it can kind of also bridge the kind of film and gaming world a little bit also.
Yeah. And that's why I can't wait for the next awards.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see it. I just like it too, because then it's like, it's another thing for us to talk about, and it's not just the game awards. Getting all the love for nominating games, but Soapy, let's move on. Next thing we're going to talk about is a little Xbox news, and it is about the expansion card for the Xbox Series X. Polygon has the information. If it'll pull up on my tablet, I'll read it before we talk about it. Basically, the expansion card is going to cost around $220, $219.99, rounded up to $220. The officially licensed 1 terabyte storage expansion card for the Xbox Series X and S costs $219.99. Microsoft announced Thursday it's available for pre-order now. The Microsoft Store listing confirmed information revealed in a product listing at Best Buy that went live earlier Thursday. Seagate makes the solid-state drive, which Microsoft announced but gave no price for in March. It's pitched as the only available expansion card that replicates the Xbox Velocity architecture with is what delivers faster upload times, richer environments, and more immersive gameplay on the next generation Xbox. Soapy, you are the Xbox guy. I'm going to ask you, what is your thought on the Series X expansion card and that price tag of around $220, probably a little bit more than $220 with tax?
Man, dude, that's one expensive memory card. Like, my whole thing is, and obviously I'm going to sound like I'm like giving Xbox a pass for it. Like, obviously there's probably a good reason it's $220.
Yeah.
But like, for instance, the external hard drive that I have for my Xbox was $50.
Okay.
But that's also because I got it near like halfway through Xbox's life cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I would advise people, hey, don't fucking buy that thing at launch, because its price is going to go down, and you're going to feel dumb when it goes down to like 50, like halfway through the life cycle.
Now, dumb question. With an Xbox, can you use any external hard drive? Like, can you plug any external hard drive into it?
I think there are limits because it has to have a certain type of USB.
Okay.
But
because, like, the reason why I ask is, luckily I haven't had to do this because I went ahead and for the Spider-Man bought the Pro model. But one of my buddies, Sean, he has like a normal just external hard drive that he plugs in right to the PlayStation, because the PlayStation has the two normal USB sockets on the front. I was just wondering for Xbox if it was the similar to where it's like, hey, I can get a fucking 1 terabyte hard drive from my Best Buy for about $50 and not have to pay $220. Unless they're saying that, like, hey, you know what, this is going to be a different hard drive. So if you have games on the non-expansion card for Xbox, they're going to run differently than they would on the expansion card.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, it's just going to mostly depend. This may just be their way of saying, like, hey, you know, there's not probably going to be that much space.
Yeah.
Because, like, I will say that is the one fucking thing I will always hate whenever next gen consoles come out. Of like, dude,
there's no space.
Just give it. Yeah, just give us a fucking terabyte. Just at this point, that should come fucking standard.
I mean, yeah, like the system isn't a terabyte, but the expansion card is. And I know this guy said if it's like the PS5, then you'll need a new one, as it's an advanced SSD, not an HDDs. Normal HDDs won't work. With PS5, normal HDD will work for the PS4 games, but PS5 will need an SSD. So you'll need better hardware. Like it makes sense. You'll need better hardware to run better games and next gen games. I just like, for me, I almost then think, Soapy, like you said, give us a terabyte. No, we're going to give you this, but then charge you for a terabyte to try to get $220 out of you.
Yeah. And obviously, like, I'm going to wait to do it because, you know, I want to see if the price drops, which there's a very strong chance that after like a year or so it'll drop. Trust me, I'm surprisingly a very patient man when it comes to being stingy.
I mean, hey man, when you're strapped for cash, sometimes you're like, I would love to buy it now, but I just can't.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, it's also going to mostly depend, because since this is so far the only option we know of, we don't exactly know, like, if they're working with any other company on it. So, and also then we don't know just if regular SSDs work with it as well. Yeah. Like, if just ones that you can just buy on your own.
Polygon has a chart. It says Xbox Series X external storage options compared. And they're comparing a USB 3.1 hard drive compared to the expansion card. The first one says stores any Xbox game. Both of them, yes. Plays Xbox One, Xbox 360, or original Xbox games. Yes. Plays games optimized for Xbox Series X or S. The expansion card is yes. The USB hard drive is no. And then it says replicate speed and performance of internal SSD. The expansion card, yes. The hard drive, no. So it's basically, yeah, like chat's telling us, and like what we've kind of already said right now because of chat is basically, if you want to play the next gen games, a normal hard drive won't work because it's basically not new enough. It doesn't have the same technology that this expansion card has. So it's like, yeah, you're getting a terabyte, but it's like, really, you're not. To me, I would look at it as I'm not paying for the space on this expansion card. I'm paying for all the technology in this card in order to play my Xbox Series X games on this card if I have to save it to it.
Yeah. So, because my whole thing that I was saying wasn't like, oh, let me just wait for other hard drives to come out. But like, wait to see if someone finds out if other SSDs work with it.
Yeah. Like
non-Microsoft
ones?
Yeah. Because those ones are going to be the ones that are cheaper.
Yeah.
Because mine isn't Microsoft based that I have. And obviously I know it's a hard drive, not an SSD. You don't got to fucking have it hammered home again. But it's like, it was not Microsoft licensed, because the whole thing is like, they'll say like, oh, you know, ours is the best for the Xbox, yeah, all that fun stuff, and then they'll charge like $100 more, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of stingy.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's one of those, I don't even know if at launch you would need to buy one, because yet again, like, how many games are going to be coming out at launch? It seems like both Xbox and PlayStation, it's really like, what, 3 or 4? But yet again, that could probably take up the entire storage. And I'm saying that as a joke too, as us saying that they don't give us enough space with these new consoles.
So you may joke about that, but that's an actual reality.
I try to joke, but then I don't say it jokingly because it's probably true. It'll just be interesting to see what kind of comes from this. Moving on, the next two, they're probably going to be short topics. The main big two were our first two that we talked about. But the next thing we're talking about, Soapy, is Among Us 2 has been canceled. And before you cue the crying track, cueing the tears, there's a good reason for it being canceled. This is from PCGamer.com. A month after its announcement, a sequel to the suddenly huge multiplayer space mystery Among Us has been canceled. As far as cancellations goes, it's a relatively welcomed one. Studio Innersloth has opted to keep working on and fixing the original game. In its announcement, Innersloth writes that while the Among Us code base is unwieldy and antiquated, it makes sense to continue work on it given its sudden popularity. Of course, that means a lot of work adapting it for a player base much larger than the studio ever expected. We have decided to cancel Among Us 2 and instead put all our focus into improving Among Us 1. The post reads. Soapy, the point is Among Us 2 is canceled. They're going to focus on Among Us 1. What are your thoughts?
Good. You fucking have absolutely caught lightning in a bottle right now.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, you gotta just ride this full wave of momentum with it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it was whenever I first downloaded it, I saw that they were like, oh yeah, Among Us 2 is coming in the future, and I'm like, didn't this game only come out like a couple months ago? I'm like, why is this already, and whenever I saw that, I was like, okay, I'm like, that's kind of disconcerting, but obviously now since they're fully committed to Among Us 1,
Mm-hmm.
more power to them, dude.
Yeah, and I mean,
I'm happy.
The thing that I also think of is do they necessarily need an Among Us 2? So the game is, I get it, the game is 2 years old. The game came out June 15th of 2018, but it's like you said, because you've got to ride the lightning and you caught lightning in a bottle. By coming out with a 2, would that kind of fracture the fan? I don't want to say fracture the fan base, but would people go oh, I'm not going to move over to Among Us 2? I mean, I wouldn't think that. Popularity would say that people would be like, oh my God, I got to play Among Us 2. But I look at it and I go, there are so many games right now working on the mindset of seasons to where it's couldn't Among Us just go, hey, we're going to have seasons instead of an expansion, where it's basically just going to be, hey, we're going to go ahead and have season 1, season 2, season 3, instead of just, hey, Among Us 2.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, in my opinion, I don't want them to do seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just because it's the way that it works right now is, if people want to just play the game completely casually, they're allowed to.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to buy cosmetics, you can.
Yeah, but you don't have to. They don't add to the way you play the game, right?
Yeah, they have no impact on the game, except that if you buy a pet, I hope you know that you're making an absolute clown move. Because if I know that's your clown, or if I know, I said your clown.
Your pet.
If I know that's your pet, and I see that pet running away from dead body, I know damn well who it is.
Oh man!
So that's the only reason you don't want to use pets.
And I'm gonna out myself here. The one thing that I would be if I was the imposter would basically be well, you know what? I think it's Soapy. I think Soapy is the imposter. I'm gonna follow Soapy to where it's all right, what happened? And then basically you'd be like, well, it can't be Ricky. Ricky followed me the whole time, so he wasn't doing anything. Kind of the old trickery there.
Yeah, or if I die, then everyone's going to be like, yep, all right, so it's Ricky now.
Well, no, I wouldn't kill you. That's the thing. I would just follow you and pretend like I'm doing tasks with you instead of killing.
You have your own individual tasks, though.
See, but that's the thing. There's a thing, I learned that there's a setting where you can turn off, global tasks, I think it's called, or something like that, where basically it's the way Jacksepticeye explained it was, it's kind of cheap because then you can kind of see oh, this task ain't getting done. Who has that? Who has this task? Okay, that's the imposter. Where it kind of makes it a little bit hard, where it's as an imposter, you don't technically have to do the tasks. You just have to look like you're doing the tasks.
Yeah. And that's something that I really can't wait until we do the Discord game of it.
Oh, I can't. I can't wait.
Boy, you guys are gonna realize I'm actually a pretty good fucking liar. So,
are you now, Mr. DM? Yes. That has lied to us many times.
Yes.
Yeah, I already know you're a good liar. I played D&D with you. But Soapy, the last thing we'll do to close out the show, a little Crash Bandicoot news. And Crash 4, which comes out next Friday, can pre-order it now. Multiplayer modes have been announced, and there's basically two big. So I'm just going to read the IGN article and hope I don't get cut out. IGN can exclusively reveal the first look and details on Crash 4's competitive and co-op modes. Both modes support 2 to 4 local players. No online support is available at this time, with players able to play as Crash, Coco, Fake Crash, and in her debut, Fake Coco. So basically the two modes are what you would think. It's a battle mode, which is the competitive mode, which includes 2 games for you to test your skills. It's a checkpoint race and a crate combo. Time trials have long been a staple of the Crash Bandicoot series, and Check Race turns them into a competitive back-and-forth race. Up to 4 players will compete for the fastest time across the level, and it's not just about reaching the end of the level and crossing the finish line. As the name suggests, Checkpoint Race is a series of races to each checkpoint crate in a level. Whoever has the most checkpoints in the level is the ultimate victor. And if you are really, really bad at one section of the level, you might still have a shot to come out on top. The other mode is just your typical your co-op mode, your normal mode, where it's like, hey, you know what? We're going to play together. We're going to try to beat it's called pass and play mode, where you can basically play the game together. I'm going to ask you, Soapy. For me, I'm excited about this. The only thing that I'm kind of like about is when they said the no online, because I feel like the competitive mode, the battle mode, would be really good for an online play. What are your thoughts on this? Basically, land multiplayer modes for Crash 4.
Man, am I happy that not every game is just completely ditching LAN anymore.
I mean, obviously, hey, you gotta have friends somehow.
Yeah. And, it sucks that they're not doing any actual online, or at least not of yet.
Yeah.
But it's also one of the things, it may just be like they're not ready to do that just yet.
So you think there could be an update, like a DLC kind of thing, or just like a normal update where they add a multiplayer mode that's online?
Yeah, and it's mostly to make sure that, that the game runs well, like that there's not like glaring bugs or anything. Because with online, like if you're doing battle mode, people are going to definitely abuse anything they possibly can to win.
Yeah, good point.
And you'll get the people that it's not cheating if it's in the game. All those fucking people piss me off, dude. If we can ever fucking have a topic on here of the worst people in gaming, the people who justify cheating as it's in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm just like, for me, I can't wait for this game. I can't wait to play it next Friday. And yeah, it's one of those games that's like, I can't wait to get my hands on everything they show us about us. I like it, but I can't wait to see what they do with it once it's out also. But that is going to do it for MVP Games Live today. Soapy, great show. As always, we'll be back tomorrow to close up the week. Remember, join the Discord channel, link down below in the description, or !Discord into Twitch chat. You can also support us at patreon.com/MVPvids, bronze, silver, gold, and platinum tiers for however many bucks you want to throw our way and get rewarded for it. Thank you to our Patreon sponsors, Pat Hill and Philly Sean. You can also support us by subbing to us on Twitch. Hey, let's say you got Prime Gaming. You don't even have to pay for it. Amazon just gives it to you. Why not throw it our way for a month? Help support us. Doesn't cost you a thing, and you get the bronze level rewards for a month from our Patreon services. Last but not least, we're on Twitch every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVPvids, and we're also on YouTube at MVP Entertainment as well. Thank you guys for checking out. As always, like I said, Soapy and I will be back tomorrow. For the Twitch fam, MVP Sports Live is coming up next with Dave and myself, so make sure to stay tuned for that one. And as always, have a good day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.